What up, beautiful people? Good morning. I am here in paradise, and I just want to share with you something that's on my heart. So, check it out. You say you don't judge, but surprise, you do. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. So, let's break it down so you can understand what I mean. Imagine a spectrum of lack, and on that spectrum, you got the lack of money, awareness, wisdom, discipline. Nobody want to feel like they're on that spectrum. But the moment you recognize it exists, you automatically place yourself on that list or that spectrum. And once you place yourself, you start placing other people, you know? And here's where it gets deep. Once you do that, a lot of your choices, your reactions, even your so-called morals, they're really just a reflection of where you think people fall on that spectrum. You create distance, you separate yourself, and you justify it with words like values and principles. But what's really happening is this: you're judging. And let me break it down. So let's keep it real. Most people like to believe they're not judgmental. They say, I accept everyone, I don't look down on anyone. But the truth is, judgment is inescapable. Even the act of saying I don't judge is a judgment. It's just a judgment against judgment itself. Think about it. Just by observing something, you have to distinguish it from something else. And that is judgment. Now, here's where it gets tricky. If judgment is inevitable, then what's morality, right? Where does that fall into place? Because your morals, they matter to you. They may not be some divine code written in stone, but they matter to you. They're boundaries you've created based on how you've judged others and how you judge yourself. I'm gonna give you an example. If you think someone has less integrity than you might keep your distance. If you see someone as more enlightened than you might look up to them. If you believe you're morally superior, you might act in ways that reinforce that identity. So it's all connected. Morality isn't just about right and wrong, it's about the separations we've created, the lines we draw between us and the so called them. And here's the paradox: morality isn't just supposed to be something you hold to yourself. It's a divine, but it's a function of separation. So the real question isn't, do I judge? Because we all do. The real question is, are you aware of the judgments you're making? Because if you think your judgments are truth, then you're trapped in them. But if you recognize them as just perspectives, just mental constructs, then suddenly you have a choice. You're freed from that ideology. You can use your judgments as tools, not as a prison, not a box. And that's the difference between someone who's stuck in their own illusions and someone who actually sees things for what it is. Because when you mistake your judgments for truth, you're trapped. You live inside a reality that isn't real, just a construct of your mind. But when you recognize that your judgments are just perspectives, just frames of reference, you gain something very powerful: awareness. And with awareness, you have a choice. So now I'll ask you again: are you really as non-judgmental as you think, or are you just unaware of the judgments you're making? Think about it.